everybody. Welcome to Williamson Watchers podcast. I'm Peg Rosidi. I am the Assistant Secretary for the Williamson County Republican Party. With me is Elliot Franklin.
Hey, welcome.
And today, this is the first time we're doing it, so I'm very excited. We are having a special guest join us because she is an expert in her domain. This is Janet Curtis. Hi, Janet. Welcome to the podcast.
Thank you. Good afternoon.
So Janet spearheads a website called mayscreek.org.
Correct.
And the issue, she is in Williamson County in the unincorporated. And for, I would say, about 7 years, you have been engaged and fighting back against a very large development in the rural part of Williamson County. So, Janet, can you describe what's going on, what's the fight, and what are the next steps? So let's just introduce yourself.
Okay. Well, my name is Janet Curtis. I've lived in the city of Franklin as well as the county for the last 34 and a half years. And in 2017, a family that owns 495 acres decided that they wanted to build a high density development, which would consist of commercial, multifamily, duplexes, townhouses, and single family. We are in the county, but we are within the city of Franklin's growth boundary. So later has allowed the cities, and we are in that area. So what they are trying to do is get annexed into the city of Franklin.
I see.
And so we go before the Planning Commission on June 26th at 7 o'clock. This is the third time we're going before the Planning Commission because the owners are requesting a land use change. And they want it right now, it is designated so that you can put half-acre lots and no commercial. And so they want it to go back to high density, and that's what we're fighting. We here in this area, the average, if you take the property surrounding the 495 acres and average it out, each parcel would be 14 and a half acres. And they're looking to put two units per acre. And so we don't know if those are multifamily or duplexes or townhouses or what on those 2 acres. And so we are fighting this because of the impact of the traffic on Highway 96, which, as many of the county and city residents know, it is a nightmare, especially at the I-65 interchange. We are fighting it because our taxes are going up because we've had to build more schools. We've had $1 million expansions on Page High School and Page Middle. Page Middle is already at 100% capacity. Trinity Elementary is at, I believe it's 87% capacity. The problem is that when they annex into the city, these students adds to our population, which means more teachers, more schools, more buses, more taxes. And so,
correct. And we have been talking about the tax increases. I mean, Elliot is like kind of like a tax guru. He always has the numbers. But that is part of when you grow, and this, let's just say the city wants to grow, the county really has to foot the bill.
Well, they do. There are several parts of it. The state is giving us less money per student because we're considered a rich county. The city collects impact fees. Supposedly they're the highest in the state, but we still wind up absorbing a lot of that cost. And a large part of the county budget is school cost. And so we need to figure out a way because they also impact our roads. The developer has to pay for entrances and some road improvement, but you wind up where the county owns part of the road and the city owns part of the road, very much like Clovercroft, where it changed designation 5 times. The county doesn't have the money to keep up the roads. And so they're eroding from overuse of heavy trucks and heavy traffic. And so we're fighting it because we feel that there is not a plan in place for this growth ahead of it. It's they put the growth and then everything else comes behind it. The growth of this is they have to build a city firehouse because this is going to be an island among county property. And so they have to build a firehouse, they have to staff it. There's no infrastructure out here, so it's $45 million to build infrastructure. They have to
Can you
build roads.
talk about the infrastructure? Because I think I've heard that they have to run 3 miles of sewer line
Correct.
in order for this development. So the sewer lines, it's my understanding, have to go on people's property
Well,
from.
the sewer lines. There's nothing set in stone right now, but the plan that we have seen, the sewer line will run down the south side of North Chapel to Pate Road, across Pate Road to Arno Road, down Arno Road to Carruthers, and then that will go to a new reclamation center that is planned to be built within the next 10 years, and I believe that's a $345 million project.
Let me just ask one question, Janet. In the past, back in Texas, I served on planning and zoning boards. So, and I understand one of the things we always talked about was you can't stop growth, but you can certainly manage it. And certainly, if we own the land, if I own the land, I would want to be able to profit from it, but definitely in a responsible way. So when people email their when on the meeting on the 26th, that's with the City of Franklin Planning Commission. Is that correct?
Correct.
So if someone wanted to email or show up and speak, what would be your recommendation to say to keep it the zoning it is, or what are the options in order to be responsible for this land to be used?
Okay, so part of the problem is they have a large floodplain that goes through the middle of the property. So they don't have a lot of options on how they can use the property. We requested a year ago that it be put as rural reserve, which is the half-acre lots, and that was passed by the Planning Commission. So now we are asking that instead of the half-acre, we are asking it to go to large lot residential, which is 1-acre lots. And the reason for that is the description in Envision Franklin is that it's a transition between city and county, that it meets the character of the existing area, that it preserves the hillsides and water resources that are here naturally here. And so we feel that that is a better fit for that land. He may not be able to put as much on it, but we've also talked about he's got barns on there because it used to be a horse farm. And the Williamson County is developing the Greenway trails. And so we're hoping that perhaps maybe we can use that as a area to hold 4-H, saddle up. People can rest their horses there when they're riding them into town or on the trails. So we're hoping to incorporate that into this area and use it community wise, but also to keep the feel of the rural, because many people out here have horses. And so it would actually fit better with the area.
I think that makes perfect sense. And in fact, you're right. I think there was another subdivision somewhere in Williamson County where they're saying it's an agri-hood, or they're encouraging it to be like a development where they're going to have community chickens and community gardens and things like that.
Correct. So, that's Armistead. That'll be across from West Haven on New Highway 96.
And I wonder what the size of those lots are. I agree with you. The acre minimum, I think, is perfect.
Yes. The size of the lots in Armistead, unfortunately, are not going to be that large. They're going to have everything from mini houses on up, is my
Okay.
understanding.
So again, and Peg, you may we're going to ask this anyway, but if someone wanted to reach out, obviously we've got your website that we'll link, but either show up on the 26th at 7 p.m. I assuming that's at the Williamson County Admin Complex. Now that
Correct.
the city, since the city of Franklin offices have been demolished in terms of the building of the new city hall, and then email their BOMA member or the commission members and just express their concern that exactly what you've shared with the flooding to keep the character of the community. I mean, Page High School still has a bring your, ride your tractor to school day. How can you do that if you don't have these large lots and you're able to have farming and animals and such? So I think that's fantastic.
And the other thing is that, according to the state, we're losing 200 acres, I believe it's a day, of farmland. Well, if you take all the farmland, where are you going to get your food and your meat and your chicken and your eggs? I mean, we have a
Right.
lot of.
No farms, no food.
Yeah, we don't want the chemical
Exactly.
food. No, we don't want chemical lab food. No.
Yes. And so
Exactly.
again, it's going to be on the 26th at 7 p.m.
Correct.
There's a meeting, a work meeting beforehand, and I believe that I posted it incorrectly on our newsletter, and I'm going to send a newsletter out to correct that time. And I urge everybody who has anything to do with the county and rural space that you really need to support, and you need to contact BOMA
The other
members, the planning board, and the planning commission of Franklin.
the other thing I wanted, the two things I wanted to say is we are asking people, we will have yellow shirts there, but we're asking people to wear yellow so we look uniformed and everybody knows what you're there for. And the second thing is that we're asking city residents as well to come because I see that city residents they don't want any more growth either. And the commissioners tend to believe that it's only county people that are fighting this. And we're not a voting public for county officials, for city officials.
Yeah.
So they don't tend to maybe hear us as much. They need to know that their voting public is also against growth and they're
That's a
tired of the traffic.
Yeah, that's a great point, Janet, because again, 4 of the BOMA positions are up this October. So that's a great point for all the city of Franklin residents to make sure your voices are heard as well. So that's awesome. I really appreciate you sharing that with us. That's very beneficial for everyone in the community.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Janet, for all your work on this and to inform people. And the more information people have, the better citizens we can be. So
That's right.
thank you so much.
Appreciate
You're
it.
welcome. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
All right. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye bye now. Wow. She's incredible.
Yeah, I mean, again, I know I'm a broken record. I think I've said this every week, and this is what only our 4th or 5th episode. But we want folks to do their research. We want all the citizens of Williamson County to do your research, talk to people. Don't just believe the flyers you get in the mail or the social media posts. And Janet has done that, and so I definitely agree with her wholeheartedly on this. We don't want high density. We want it to be rural. We want it to keep the feel of the acre lots and the horses and everything out there. So hopefully,
and because let's just face it, people have come here and for a brand, right? What is Williamson County's brand, right? It's beautiful rolling hills. It's open spaces, it's a rural, and then you have a town. I think that they just think that encroaching onto the outskirts and into the rural county is somehow going to be beneficial to them. And I think the traffic on Murfreesboro Road 96 will show. And now we're having backups on the rural roads.
Yeah, and she mentioned it. I mean, the growth in Franklin is just the same. We're building a hotel at the factory with no parking. That's going to be a nightmare. We have the Margin District, which again looks gorgeous, but it's going to create a lot of parking and traffic issues. So I think we need to stop the development. So
yeah, I just give it a little pause until everything can settle in. So another issue with Franklin this week has been a really big court development, which has been not a surprise for people who have been following it. about a First Amendment violation. So just to let you know that there is a court case called Cochini and versus the city of Franklin, and the U.S. District Judge Waverly D. Crenshaw issued a ruling that in the U.S. District Court for Middle Tennessee, the case stemmed from an arrest of Joseph Cochini, a Christian evangelist at the 2023 Franklin Pride Festival, who was peacefully sharing his faith on public ground. And they found that there was a First Amendment violation because he was peacefully engaged in religious expression. That is in the first few points of the Constitution and the Bill of Rights, correct? And they found that the city was unlawful. And now he is going to be able to sue them and receive damages for infringement of his First Amendment rights.
Like you said, there's been some multiple articles posted on it, but it will be a jury trial from what I understand. And again, he was out. He paid to come into the festival. He had a shirt on with that said something on it. You can see you can all watch the body cam footage from the officer. I think it said Jesus loves you or something like that. He had a Bible and he was walking around quietly, just praying for folks. And the organizer said he was disrupting them and asked the officers to remove him. You can't do that. He wasn't breaking any laws. He wasn't, he was, you can't do that. So we're going to see how much the city of Franklin has to pay for this. Who knows?
The damages can be huge on this. And the thing about it is that this year they had the same rules in effect that unless you are with the program, there's nobody who can be disruptors. And it really did put a chilling effect on people's First Amendment, even around there, because, the police will arrest you and they sort of let it be known. Given this all in the background, I find they double down on it, which is pretty alarming. So from now on, I guess, I think people will know that if there is a use of a public space, just because you rent it does not give you a right to take away First Amendment protections.
That's it. That's what it boils down to. Absolutely.
Yes. And the second issue that I wanted to bring up is some of the fireworks that were at a county commission meeting of all things. So what happened on Monday is that there was a resolution being brought before the commission. It was a resolution 6-25-38. It was filed on Thursday, June 5th through the county commissioner clerk's office, but the packet wasn't sent until the prior Tuesday. So you only had a few days to read over this. And what it was is that the insurance for the county, the employees of the county was coming up in January, but they needed to have a stopgap measure to get people insured. But the price tag, hold on to your hats, $90 million dropped into the laps of the county commission and said, okay, you need to approve this. There were two holdouts, and those two were Lisa Hayes and Chris Richards.
Chris Richards, yeah, absolutely. So, and Chris has been one that has quite some time continues to bring up, we need the county commission needs to follow the statutes that they've written and the policies and the procedures. And he's been, for meetings, for agendas, he's long been, that's all he's asking for is if you have, your policy or procedure that says all agenda items must be submitted by X day, there's always a way that you can bring emergency items up onto the floor with the majority vote and such. But this was, like you said, $90 million. You would think if this stop loss policy has to be renewed by July 1st, that this would have been on the agenda, maybe months ago. If you've got a standard contract management system, if you're looking at things 90 days ahead, yes, things are going to drop through the cracks. But like you said, $90 million. And so he said, yeah, Lisa and Chris were like, we don't want to vote on this. We need to read it. We need to get the citizens' input. And so they've called an emergency meeting for June 20th at 8 a.m. when they know that no one will be watching or will show up to complain, to vote on it then to see if they can get it passed, because Williamson County is self-insured. And so they can, the the concern from the mayor was, well, if there are claims that are made and we don't have this stop loss, kind of gap insurance, that we could be out millions of dollars. Well, again, if you know that every year, because he's been county mayor for quite a few years, and a lot of the commissioners have been commissioners for a long time, you would know to bring it up earlier.
Yes, and there was sort of like an odd thing that they voted on it, and then they came back and the mayor was speaking, Mayor Roger Anderson said, okay, I'm going to say, I want you to change your vote and I want to just do this now. And there was a lot of pressure, and I just don't understand how they are like just ramming this through. Evidently there was no multiple bids. There was one price, one bid, and that's it. Is that the way the business of the county should be run, by like, hurry up and give me, like, okay, if you don't do this, we're going to have an 8 a.m. meeting. So the meeting is on June 20th at 8 a.m., followed by the budget meeting, which is super important for people to get engaged. It's at 9 a.m. I know that's a hard meeting to attend or to watch because that's during working hours. But that's when all the tax issues are going to be discussed on June the 20th, starting at now 8 a.m. with this $90 million. So if you want to know why our taxes are in limbo, it's because of perhaps some of the last minute items that get put on.
Yeah, we just, you just need transparency. Williamson County is a business. It's a corporation. It's an enterprise. You would run it like you would run your own business. We need transparency. Who are getting these contracts? Why are they being rushed through? Why are they being put on agendas with no notice? That, again, we've said it multiple times. We need a Department of Government Efficiency here to go through and look at these things. And maybe we really do need it. Maybe it's a no-brainer. Maybe we need it, and we've had it every year for the past 20 years. But who is it going to? Who's the agency? What are the kickbacks or the campaign contributions, if there are, from that agency? We just need a full picture. That's all you would want.
We do.
Just so we know where our taxpayer dollars are going.
It's just the right thing to do.
Yeah, you would want it if you're running your own business. Like I said, your own checkbook.
Exactly. Yes. So it is our checkbook.
It is.
Which reminds me, get involved in your government, know where your money is going to, and join the Williamson County Republican Party. We're going to help you every step of the way. We're here once a week. We are the Williamson Watchers. Join us every Tuesday, and then go to our website, join the party at williamsongop.org. That's it for this week. Have a great one.
Take care.
Bye-bye now.